Pashupati, good morning and a happy new year to you. Looks like we'll start with a gap up this morning, but what kind of upside do you see in the near term?
Well, I think this euphoria is going to continue. This is one big event that everyone was waiting for, and I guess they're going to see whether US money is going to start coming in, which I guess if we have a good January, should start early next week, if not before. So I think it'll be a good start to the year.
With what kind of upside, Pashupati? Is this going to be the run that takes the market to a new high?
Well, it looks like it might. I mean, it's the futures have already crossed 6,000, so I would assume that we're going to be there today, and hopefully we'll close over 6,000, and then we'll just move. I would assume it would happen either later this week or maybe early next week, for sure.
What kind of impact do you think just the resolution of the issue, because it's not a complete clearing of the problem, but just a resolution will do in terms of liquidity flows? Will it keep it as robust as it's been through the last few months?
Well, I certainly hope so. It looks like the resolution is a little bit more than, the problem in the US is the Republicans and Democrats are equally balanced in the houses, but the fact is that their positions are quite diametrically opposite. So, they've got to resolve a lot of the nitty-gritty in terms of the spending. I think the spending cuts are going to be important. But, I guess they'll use the media and they will ask, shoot trial balloons as to what their programs are going to be. And it'll evolve. And I guess we could probably teach them, our politicians could certainly teach them a couple of things about the way they're doing things.
Pashupati, do you think this will trigger off or can unleash a global rally which extends through January, or could it be just a few days with a powerful relief rally and then people will once again go back to fretting about the deals which need to get cleared between now and March?
Well, I guess this is the reverse of buy on news, sell when it comes. It's buy on rumor, sell on news. But I think that what's going to actually happen is that this does give an indication that there will be more liquidity in the markets. And I guess, we were open yesterday, everybody else was closed, so they're up. I guess Asia's already up 1.5% to 2%. We were up like almost 1% yesterday, so I think we'll have a little less up today than the rest of them. But, I definitely see new flows and a lot of optimism in the market simply because this is one event which was hanging as a sword, and I think it's now pretty much over, and I think it'll be put to bed as soon as this vote goes through.
The suggestion, though, Pashupati, seems to be that it's going to be a meandering through the fiscal issue rather than a resolution of the cliff. So there's a moratorium come February and then March. Do you think that could put a cap on performance and on the premise that most people were working with, which was that the first 2 months were going to be fantastic for the market, because this could add to the volatility?
Well, I guess it could, but I think they're going to be talking about spending cuts, and I think that's the real issue, because I don't think there's very much that they can cut, and whatever cuts, there's going to be howls and screams. But they have to cut, and they're just going to make it look difficult. I think both parties would probably see that cutting is required, because you have to make some attempt to try and balance the budget. And, by lowering taxes or lowering tax collections, you're actually going to put some stress on the system. But it also means that they're going to be printing more money. A lot of that money is overseas. A lot of US corporates have money overseas. I guess they'll be looking for acquisitions. So I think it's good for emerging markets. It's certainly good for Asia.
Would you say it also, not just this, but the trend over the last few months has limited the downside for our market?
Well, I guess so, because, a lot of money has come in, and, it seems very illogical for all of it to sort of pour out in one shot. So, whatever the reasons there were for it to come in, maybe it was an expectation of this cliff actually happening at the end of the year. It's brought money, and it seems to have brought quality money, because we're seeing it a little bit in FDI also. The question is that, how much more is going to come, and, when, and it looks like it's still going to come, and it looks like we're going to have a good January at least.
Pashupati, what about outperformance expectations from the market this year? Because a lot of people point out, given last year's performance, maybe we'll be somewhere in the middle of the rung in terms of performance, not quite the huge outperformer we were in 2012.
Well, 2012 was a great year because we were up 27% plus minus, depending on whether you're looking at the Nifty or the Sensex. It'd be nice to be up 27% this year, as they say, muh mein ghee shakkar. But, actually the market is getting a lot of money and will continue to get some money, at least for the first half of the year. So I think that, as long as this momentum is going, life will be fine. Then everyone will take a step back. But at the end of it all, if you take the FMCG stocks out of the index, it's not looking that expensive. So I think that will probably attract some fund managers here. It's not like the last time it went up to 6,100, the all-time highs, where the PEs were much higher.
If you had to pick between the two very influential clusters, Pashupati, banking and infra, which one would you plump for gains from here?
Well, I actually think that infra is probably more interesting, simply because I think, I would compare it to what DLF has done in 2012, where they've actually sold assets and got, paired their balance sheet. So I can see a lot of SPVs coming out of these infra companies. We've already seen it happening in some of them. And, their balance sheets are going to look a lot better in 2013. And I think that's probably a way to look. And, there is stimulus from the government to get spending going. So I think that that will also help. So, I think definitely infra is better than banking for me.